Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Barry Johns and this is Studio Talk. And this is a YouTube channel where we talk about all things project studio related. Today we're going to talk about the epic rise and fall slash fail of Guitar Center. Before we do that, do me a favor, okay? If you like the videos I put out, maybe you've seen some of my other videos, maybe at the end of this you say, hey, I kind of like that video that guy did. Do me a favor, hit that like button, the subscribe button, and notification bell. Those things really help me out and help me grow this channel. So if you like what I do, please do me a favor and take just a second of your time to do that. Now, on to the subject at hand. Guitar Center was an epic brand at one point. And I think we would all agree before I even get into it that it is far from that today. You know, there's recently been in the news, I've got another YouTube video out there on the fact that Sweetwater has now been impacted tremendously by, by an outside financial company, an investment company. And historically, they do bad things to companies because all they care about is the money and nothing else, and don't understand about they're there to get in there and take as much as they can out and milk it for everything they can, and then sit back and let it fail, which is exactly what happened to Guitar Center. Guitar Center has had a major issue with debt almost since its inception. It tried to grow too big, too fast. And so even before Bain Capital, which is probably the most evil investment company out there on the planet, as far as I'm concerned, where they really don't care about employees. They really don't care about a business. They're going to go get what they can and get out of it and then go on about their lives. Thank you, Mitt Romney. Okay. Yeah, he's one of those guys. So, so Guitar Center really at one point was a really great store. And I think they probably tried to expand way too fast and get way too big before they were ready. Now I'm going to share some of my personal opinions, and I don't know if I'm right, but these are my guesses. I think when Guitar Center started to, when its fall started to happen at the same time it's trying to expand, there's this little old thing called the internet that really started to explode. And it didn't take very long for people like you and like me to figure out that, hey, wait a minute. There's no sales tax if I buy it online. There's no sales tax. I can save hundreds and hundreds of dollars depending on how much I'm spending if I just order it online and not go to the store. Maybe if I'm a little patient and sit and wait for it to get shipped to me in about a week, I'll save quite a bit of money. And I don't have the hassle. And plus I know if I'm buying a guitar or something like that, then I don't have to worry about having a guitar that's been hanging on a wall and it's been handled by 4,000 kids. And so, not there's anything wrong, kids, but come on, if we're buying a nice guitar, we kind of want it to be a nice guitar, and I don't care what price point that guitar's at. And so I think that has had a huge impact on what Guitar Center did. And this was before, I'm talking about before Bain Capital came in and invested all the money and basically took over Guitar Center. They had expanded into most major markets across the country. I know I live here in Central Florida in the Orlando area, and we have 2 Guitar Centers here. And you could argue is this town's not big enough for 2 Guitar Centers, but we have 2 here. And so I have sat back and watched this whole fall really from the get-go, from the beginning. You used to be able to go into Guitar Center and negotiate with the salesperson. They could always take a little bit more off, maybe, especially when you were dealing in the beginning with, savings of internet sales tax, and say, hey, can you at least match me out the door? So, basically knock off the sales tax on it and give me a discount on that so that I'm paying the same from you as I would buying that instrument or whatever it is I'm buying there online. And they used to be able to do that. You used to always have some pretty knowledgeable people working at Guitar Center. They really they were musicians. They understood the gear that they were selling. And then especially if you were getting into like what we do, recording and all the aspects of it back then, it was way more complicated back then. Way more problems came up, whether it's drivers or on Windows machines, IRQ issues, and a lot of other things. It's all been since resolved. but getting into DAWs back then was not an easy task. It was painful, and it was nice having somebody who could help folks out. And then immediately, almost immediately after Bain Capital came in and really started saying, no, no more negotiations, no more working in it, draw a line in the sand, took the power completely away from them. Even the store manager, they took the power completely away from that person. So there was no negotiating, none of that. If you're not familiar with it, there's this thing called MAP. And basically, every manufacturer of audio products in our world of music, it's basically the suggested retail price. And what each one of these manufacturers are saying, hey, don't advertise our product for less than this price. Okay, just don't advertise less. If you want to sell it for less, that's up to you, but don't advertise. A little unknown secret amongst too many people, it seems like, that MAP price, you should pretty well expect to get 20% off of that. All you have to do is get on Reverb and negotiate with a music store, and almost all the time they'll knock 20% off, unless you're trying to do 20% off and still get like 3 years of interest-free stuff. That they're not going to do that, because that's taking a double hit. They actually have to pay a commission back to Affirm or Synchrony or whoever it is that does the financing. Synchrony charges the music store for that. So you can't have your cake and eat it too all the time. So anyway, they took all that power away from Guitar Center. And I was just in Guitar Center the other day. And I actually called before I went in, because my son, we just recently finished building him a brand new Windows computer for his gaming. He loves gaming and he wants to start doing streaming. And so I've been helping him get set up with that. And so, he wanted a Shure SM7B. It's probably the most common, most popular one out there for that type of thing. And so I called up my local Guitar Center just to see if they had it in stock. And I said, hey, do you have this, Shure SM7B in stock? And the guy answered the phone. Hey, Pro Audio. Hey, do you have a Shure SM7B? What is that? Is that a microphone or something? Yeah, it's a very popular microphone. Do you have one in stock? Let me go check. And he has to go check. Now, sure, he's got to check, see if it's in stock, but the guy didn't even know what it was. How can you work in Pro Audio and not know these basic things? That's like not knowing what an SM57 or SM58 is. Are you kidding me? You don't know the most basic fundamental products that you have and you sell? You're standing in that store probably for 8 hours a day, and nobody's ever in that store. Do you think you might want to walk around and look at all the products you sell and familiarize yourself with them? Come on, isn't that common sense? Do I need to tell you to do that? I mean, come on. Even if I could go work at a store that I knew nothing about their products, and I'm still going to learn while I'm there. I mean, why wouldn't I? And so, it was just ridiculous. And of course, they had one in stock, and I went in and I opened the front door, and guess what I saw in Guitar Center when I opened the front door? Nobody. There's nobody in this big store. It's empty. There's 2 employees and the store is empty. Back in the 90s and early 2000s, you'd go in there and it would be swarming with people. I mean, people everywhere. You'd get headaches because all these kids were playing Smoke on the Water badly. Okay. And thinking they're shredding and turning up the gain and the volume. And it's, I've been there. I did that too as a kid. So nothing against you kids, but us people who've been doing it a while, we kind of moved past that. So, the store's empty, and I don't even know why they keep them open at this point. I don't know why they keep them. The only thing I'm guessing at this stage, because they should just close them all. I was out in LA about a year before the pandemic started, and I happened to go to the Guitar Center in LA. I think it was on Sunset Strip or somewhere in there, but I went to the Guitar Center there. And it was pretty busy, and it had a lot of variety of products. You would expect that being in LA. But I also went to Atlanta recently and went in there, and it was just as bad here. I went to, I grew up in just south of Lexington, Kentucky. I went to the Guitar Center up there, just dead. I mean, just depressing dead. And whatever inventory they had was terrible. The only thing that keeps the Guitar Center going here in Orlando is we get a lot of tourists from Brazil. Great country, by the way. but a lot of tourists from Brazil who come up here and buy the high-end Paul Reed Smiths and Gibsons and Fenders. And so that's the people they sell them to because they can get it much, much, much cheaper here in Orlando than they can buying it and having it shipped to their country. So there's a lot of that going on. So Guitar Center is just a complete epic fail. You know, you may not know this or not, but they also own Musician's Friend. And I found Musician's Friend to be better to deal with and easier to deal with than Guitar Center by a long shot. But still, it's nowhere near on the caliber of like a Sweetwater or some of the other stores out there that sell the same products. You know, usually you can get better. Sweetwater has the best financing out there, bar none, mainly because they have so much buying power. But Guitar Center, just go away. Because if you're thinking that now the internet, now that basically every state in America, the exception may be a handful, all charge internet sales tax. So you don't save anything by buying online anymore. And maybe they're thinking if they just wait that out, people will start to go back to the store and back to buy the products. I hate to break it to you, but most of us are already used to buying online. And there's plenty of retailers out there that make the return process pretty easy and pretty painless. The only reason I would ever go in a Guitar Center today is if I had to have something right away. You know, I need a set of strings and I can't wait. I forgot a cable for this or that when I was going to maybe jam at somebody's house and I had to stop by and pick up a cable. That's it. That's the only reason that I would ever go in a Guitar Center again. It's only for a sense of urgency, and rarely is that going to be a big purchase because for the most part, they don't really have anything in there that I'd want. You know, they don't. Their selection, I'm a guitar player, their selection of pedals is terrible. Granted, they still have a lot of nice, high-end boutique guitars, and at least in the one of the two stores in Orlando. The other one doesn't have any of that, but the one that does is over by Disney, as you would expect. So that one still has a pretty good stock of guitars. I've got a couple guitars hanging on the wall here that I've bought at Guitar Center, over the years when I actually could still get a good deal on them. And so I don't know about you, but I think they just need to go away, die off, and be done. You don't know how to run your business. You don't have a clue. You don't hire anybody that has a clue. You don't train anybody because you don't have anybody that has a clue who could train somebody. So ask yourself, Guitar Center, why do you still exist? Go away. End of my rant on Guitar Center. I know I talked too long and much about this, and I probably could have done all this in about a 2-minute video. So I apologize if I've strung this out. So again, if you like the content I talk about, I encourage you to go out and look at some of my other videos, see if you like some of the things I do in there. I'm not always complaining, I promise you that, although lately it seems to be a lot of what I'm doing. Sorry. But I think at some point some of these businesses have to be held accountable. And so, whether that's a mantra I'm on a little bit right now, I don't know. But anyway, I hope you like the channel. I hope you like the show. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell if you don't mind. Appreciate it. Until next time, I hope every one of you have a great day.